Incorrect. Incorrect. No one is asserting the lack of truth of the article. People are only disputing whether or not there is any adequate attribution in the article to a verified source. And unfortunately, we keep getting a no.
It was reported that the IDF acknowledges the Hamas numbers.
Say what?
Wait, what?
The point is that both articles are saying... Both articles
Everybody
are
agrees
saying
that it was
that the
70,000.
IDF
I'm not sure what
the
your point
Hamas
is.
numbers.
I can't hear what
This
you're
is,
saying.
and now what we're doing here is breaking this into tiny little pieces to somehow show
Right.
that
Evaluating the information being presented to us like a critical reader. Right?
Again, there are two different...
This is critical reading, correct?
This,
Do we read it charitably or critically? Pick one.
Fine. You have two
Majority
sources.
Or criticism.
You're impossible. You have two sources. Do
Charitably?
you accept the
All right,
fact
back to
that the
charitably.
IDF said they acknowledge Hamas numbers or not?
The IDF didn't say that.
That's the problem.
The
That
number
you're
has
trying
been
to
agreed
prove to
upon.
Right? The article said the IDF
No,
didn't say.
Simon-
Right?
Simon-
And that's
Simon-
part of the article.
Well, she
We've
did
agreed
read
on the number for quite a long
in
time,
the article she
actually.
read out loud, I mean, it did say that though. But now
Does
we're
anybody
asking
have a
what
copy of the
person in
article?
the IDF acknowledged that, and then when you're asked, like, who it actually is, you
Who in
cannot
the
give
IDF?
who
Because
it is.
it was not given to me.
Nobody in the
It was given
IDF.
to military correspondents.
Anonymous sources.
No, but again, say
Very suspicious.
when you read an article and you say, this is like the IDF, the general organization is saying this, they are accepting this, and then we ask, okay, well, who in the organization? And you say, well, I don't know. It's like, okay,
And
but
then-
why
and
am I
then
just
what-
accepting
and then
that
what did I
as
do?
true?
And then what did I do?
Wait,
I
you
went
never
and I
gave
You
us
Googled.
spoke with a journalist
Yes, I
who had a
did.
text message exchange with you and assured you
Let me
that it was a
answer,
good
Simon.
source.
Please, this is exhausting. Simon, then I accepted that
Move
claim,
on.
so I went ahead
Ask her.
and I sent Daniel multiple screenshots that are exemplifying that this is the type of jargon that is used here on a regular basis, including two articles that came out today. from two
Type of
different
jargon
outlets
is proof for you.
using the same type of jargon. The IDF informed no attribution to a specific personnel, no quotations, nothing. But this is still not good enough.
Yeah, but
Of course, they're not related to each other.
You just give us the briefing, the name of
What
the
else is
representative from the IDF,
Ambrose,
but you don't have any of that
Okay.
because the record is bad.
the problem
Can I
specifically
see
the
the
problem.
article?
Can I just
You guys
somehow
have the
speak
article?
just to you? Like,
do you
Yeah,
have
go
a
ahead,
legal
speak to everyone, Al.
Is it possible?
Nothing you
is it
said has
possible
been
just for me and
unheard by
Simon to have a
us.
conversation?
It shouldn't
Did you have a
be
link of the
difficult.
article?
I mean, if she wants to post
Yeah.
anything, but in
Did you post it for me?
like
Please.
good,
Yeah, which
good
article? Which one?
journalism, it shouldn't be.
Post it for me. If you have it, where did you all see this article?
I don't know. She's just reading this, but let me just ask.
Well, I
you-
want to see the article.
Okay, well,
It's
we haven't
usually
seen it
bad
either.
verbatim.
We haven't.
So nobody's seen it, so it's
I
it's
posted it
ridiculous.
in
No,
the
but I mean,
comments.
I'll
And I DM'd it to Daniel a while
it's in the
ago.
Times of Israel.
Can I ask a question?
Well,
Why
I
is it
don't know
under the
if it
conditions?
does.
Hold on. Why did it mention that it's under the condition of anonymity, which it didn't say in any of the articles that you said? Why is it anonymous specifically?
I don't know.
and
Daniel, I don't know. I have no
That's
idea.
interesting.
That's what it said. No, it might be. It's still
That's
what's
interesting to know, no?
reported. Yes, Daniel, this is how reporting
Yes,
works.
it's reported.
There are journalistic ethical guidelines that journalists are aware of, and they work within them. This
But you
is
said
why
it was an official briefing.
trust. Again,
You trust.
this is exactly
But we
what
don't have the
first
briefing,
of all,
we don't have the name
I
of the guy that
quoted
officially
what
briefed
was told
everyone.
me. And then I found the Times of article, and I agree with you that there's a discrepancy. There's a discrepancy there
Bad
in
reporting.
the wording. But what
I mean, here we are talking for hours, not able to figure out what the IDF
What we
thinks.
have to agree on at this point that it's more likely than not that this information is correct. Because all the things that we have talked
What
about,
information exactly?
I'm pretty convinced that the people in BBC, New York Times, know better than us.
return the favor. Yes, sir.
I need you to be my witness.
That's what, Madam. Said anything I knew. Not a dog. Next time I'll tell you to leave me alone.
That isn't but a filthy. Go ahead. Tell me whatever you want to. I don't care anymore.
I missed you. I did.
Example of another article you read in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, that I don't know, that you found interesting enough to look into. Like, I'm trying to understand what's your benchmark. What type of information that you come across makes you go, I might want to check this out more because this might be accurate. I'm trying to understand what are your green flags for empirical information, for
Red
facts, for truth. No, I'm actually looking for the green flags. not the
my
red
green.
flags.
I'll tell you, my green flags are a lack of red flags.
Yeah, I mean that's basically what
There
it
is
is.
no.
You can't
So
just
you're,
read
so
one
it's,
This
article.
article has red flags,
okay,
Em.
so you're asking for the impossible.
Yes, that's correct. That's your interpretation of what I just said.
So there is no reliable source. The only thing that is
Correct.
pure,
Ever vigilant,
100%
ever
true is
critical,
No,
lack of red
No,
flags.
come on.
Maybe
I
it's
just-
true.
This is preposterous.
Everyone
all
over
you're
each
saying-
other. Simon, go ahead.
Yeah, like the disagreement we're having is that I'm saying that I will take in all of the information and then have to sift through pieces and say, well, okay, this information contradicts that, so then I'm going to have to go and dig deeper and see which piece of information is actually accurate. So it's not about you read one article,
Simon,
I'm going to take some authority that has a good track
I
record and say,
understand. I
well,
understand.
this
But
person has-
okay, so please
Hold on
explain
one
to
second.
me.
But in the case of yesterday's article, it was all the sources out there where it was Haaretz or it was the Times of Israel or it was all one. All of
Red
them were saying
flags.
hold on. All of them were saying the same thing. The idea confirmed. So they were not contradicting each other. They were just making a statement that seemed a little bit shallow. And that is what triggered our red flag to say, okay, where are these they getting these from? And this is when Daniel started looking for more information that we didn't find.
Again, but Issa, at the same time, at what point do we accept the fact that if the entire news world seems to think this is reliable information, and
what point?
Lisa, we got to the point that we argued about quotation marks. That was the level.
That is
So
yeah,
I'm
I
asking,
know, but
what do,
hold on,
so
I'm
help me understand something else. What the fuck constitutes a reliable source in you people's eyes?
Well,
It's not a critique,
reliable
it's
Not your lack of contradiction. And you tell me the answer to your question. I just answered it, Em.
Hold on.
What gives me the green light to accept?
Rick said, Isa is the
A reliable
mod.
source
So
would
am I.
be, for example, the IDF, this guy is showing his face and he's making a statement where everybody has got visible evidence or an official statement from the IDF. Now, I get what you're saying, Em. Your source is trustworthy to you, but you need to understand that for some people, for most people, they don't see it, they don't believe it.
Okay,
I
so let me elaborate on that, because my source is the literal journalist that wrote the article. this same journalist that has just won the Sokolov Award for journalism, which is a very Zionist award, not exactly, my kind of thing, but we have to attribute some sort of gravitas, yes, to things like journalistic
Gravitas is not the word.
like professional journalism, like professional ethics. Like we have to assume that that New York Times has more credibility than, I don't know, some tabloid or something. There's a reason for that.
Because
do you know
what
what a
we're seeing in
logical
today's
fallacy
world,
is?
hold on, Simon. What we're seeing in today's world is that not long ago, let's say 1 or 2 months ago, the BBC was caught in manipulating some videos of January the 6th, transforming what Trump said to what they said he said. And they manipulated that. Would you say
Correct.
that, hold on, Norm, I don't need you to confirm me.
Yeah,
You say, no, I don't need you, so please don't interrupt.
Not interrupting.
Okay, Isa, for the sake of the argument, let's scratch the BBC.
You would say, no, but
No, so I'm saying for the sake of the argument, I'll hold up your high bar.
You are interrupting Isa. You are interrupting Isa.
I'm saying,
Okay.
I'm saying that the BBC, I'm giving you the example of the BBC just because they are as big and as trustworthy and they have a very big reputation, just as like the other sources you're mentioning. So when these people are making these type of errors, then who is to say that the rest of the people are not also doing that? When supposedly the BBC is holding to the high standards of ethics.
Okay, so first of all, if we want, we can go by the doctrine that completely scratches out the BBC, even though I don't think it's right. I actually think that the fact that they came up publicly, admitted it, and I think that makes them even more liable because nothing is perfect. And there are always, hold on, no, and there are always mistakes, right? But there are at some point, the mountain of evidence that are against your claim, and in this case, right, not specifically you, but when everyone else, so we can scratch the BBC, now you have to explain to me why everyone else is also unreliable. So where does it end? And eventually it puts us in a place where everybody has
Nobody said everybody was unreliable.
Hold on. It puts us in a place where everybody has an authority on their own subjective reality, and that is no way to conduct in society. The sky is not
Nobody said
purple.
that.
There's only male and female, and two does not equal 5. Like facts are just facts.
Okay.
And so at what point? And
Nobody
what
said
constitutes a reliable source?
Okay, so I'm gonna respond to you.
Source of the hearsay.
I just want to say
Can you
one
just
word.
explain
Just say one word. Accountability.
Please.
Accountability. Missing this out there.
So, the responsibility, well, lies of course in the journalist, but also in the reader. So yeah, you're right in saying that it will be subjective for everyone to decide what is a reliable source, and that is actually what a responsible individual would do. They should ask questions until there is no more questions to be asked because they always are led to the exact same facts. So people questioning your source, I'm not saying, like, I don't know your source. Maybe it is the most ethical person. I am not saying he isn't. But the fact is that he is just a person that is saying something. In the end, it's hearsay. So
no. So hold on. I want to stop on this.
You were just
First of all,
interrupting Isa.
first of all, hold on.
You were just interrupting Isa.
Can we have a conversation?
You were
We're
interrupting.
two adult women. We can have a
You were
conversation.
interrupting
Jason,
Isa.
just let her because I have nothing else to do and she is interjecting, not interrupting.
That's how you have a conversation. So
It's okay,
my
go ahead.
point is, Isa, Daniel mentioned accountability. Journalists, if they, let's say that he published this, and he did not do his due diligence, he was completely sloppy in checking his source, and this ends up being revealed, he will lose his professional credibility, right? He will lose his livelihood. So there is a level, well, hold on. So there is a level of accountability here. Same, by the way, goes to the publication because they also have a substantial amount of accountability.
Oh my God, everybody shut up.
Enough. Jesus, I swear to God, men are the biggest problem on earth.
No, guys, you need to get this under control. Get under control right now. Okay, Andre, get under control. Zed, get under control. Okay, Issa wants M to finish. Issa wants M to finish, and Issa is in charge of this room. Okay, so we are doing what Issa wants. Now go ahead, M.
Wow. Okay, thank you. Wow, that was impressive. So, Issa, the last thing I said, you spoke about you don't know my source. He might be the most reliable person on earth. So first of all, long-term journalist, very respectable in Israel, works for a very respectable publication. If he fucks up to this level, he literally loses his entire livelihood. Adding to that, and this is what I tried to point out, he just won the Sokolov Journalism Award. I think that also gives it some gravitas to the whole thing. I'm trying to establish what is a level of credibility that you can say this professional person has personal accountability to keep his livelihood.
Okay.
Right? This is how he
Maybe
makes money.
maybe to you, this is, I mean, like everybody has got different parameters on their, they trust someone or not. Now, what I can tell you is that there have been many instances, like even for example in the US with very famous journalists, like Don Lemon, for example. He's a reporter on TV. He has lied so many times, and yet he's still on TV, allowed to be transmit the news and transmit his opinion. So yes, even though his reputation was damaged to a portion of the population, another portion of the population keeps supporting him, and he is allowed and able to keep putting his opinion out there. Now, in terms of the in terms of the awards, I agree with you that this would be, in a normal world, this would be a certification of trust and whatever, right? And or of good quality. But we have seen, even in the US, with the Association of the Press, that they give each other awards. Like, this is like a cartel of media. It's not really independent media. A lot of journalists are being subsidized by either terrorist groups or terrorist, I don't know, like organizations, or even political countries that want to have interference in the political aspects of other countries.
Okay.
That is the case with Russia, with Qatar, and with others.
Hold on. So now, let's say you said all of this and we were talking about a specific reporter in a specific outlet. However, we have two more reporters from two different outlets saying completely the exact same thing. Are they also compromised?
They're not saying the exact same thing. They're using different verbs.
One said the exact same thing.
No, it's different verbs. Different verbs. One says believes, the other says acknowledges, the third one says I don't remember what. And this is why I asked for the quote of the...
Exactly, but the bottom line is the same.
One last sentence before you jump in. One last sentence.
Okay, Daniel, you got the mic. Everybody else, please, just respect the turn.
One last sentence. And if they want to stay under anonymity, that's fine. I just want to have the exact quote what the idea said.
And the reason why, one last thing, Daniel, I'm going to mute up because I need to put the supermarket things in that fridge. The one last thing to what Daniel just said, because you also made reference to it when I came back in the room. And you said we get to a point of discussing quotations. Well, this is how you hold someone accountable. Because if I told you today, these are bad, because I spoke with an IDF official and he told me that that's not true. I mean, I am the source. I can say that I am not lying. So this is how you hold people accountable. When you ask for some evidence, or at least to put in the table something that would risk the reputation. Because if your source gives you a direct quote, you're giving him the accountability, or you're making him accountable. And at the same time, oh my God, okay, everybody say goodbye to Bibi. Remove from room. I already had enough with it. So, if he knows that he's going to be asked for evidence, he is going to be more strict with the person, whoever it is, from the idea when they gave him that information. So, it's a chain of accountability.
So it's becoming so meta.
Can I
Well, Lisa, we need to give other people a chance, and Andre has been trying for a long time. I really think it's fair to give Andre a chance. What do you think, Issa?
Thank you, Chris. So it's becoming so meta. It's becoming irrelevant. Okay, so we're talking about specific words that are used in the articles. That's irrelevant. What Daniel and Issa both referencing to is called news laundering. It's when news outlets that have been shown on numerous occasions, when they quote each other in a circle. Basically, what happens is CNN quotes MSNBC, MSNBC quotes BBC, and BBC quotes CNN. So it becomes the same recycled news. Secondly, when you say that, well, just to give themselves credibility. Secondly, it has been a trend in the United States and Great Britain and in all the Western-oriented countries that the narrative became the most ideologically driven. It has been stated by numerous journalists openly that the ends justify the means. They cannot be held accountable and credible because that is the approach that they're approaching from the social justice lens. That's what eroded New York Times. That's what eroded Washington Post.
So again, there is no
BBC,
one reliable news outlet.
And we need to let Andre say something, okay?
Yes, thank you. And so when you are bringing a source that says IDF accepts those numbers, and when people ask you who in IDF says that they accept those numbers, the reasonable way to do it is to find a name of the official from the IDF who has publicly stated that they accept those numbers. If the only source that you have is some article or journalist that says that there is a credible source in IDF that told them that is not a credible information. That is hearsay. So for now, we're just discussing whether hearsay is credible or not. And I think hearsay is not credible.
Okay, first of all, it's not one, it's three. There are three different reporters reporting the exact same thing.
It doesn't matter the amount of people if you have
Repeated hearsay is
There
still
will
hearsay.
never be ending. That's not how it works here.
But you realize I can't accept information if I don't have the actual.
But I gave you.
It's just hearsay.
I tried
Nobody
to give.
says in a murder trial.
Simon.
Well, Your Honor, we don't
But
really know who it is.
But Simon, you're applying standards that are not journalistic standards, okay? A murder trial is not the same thing as journalism.
Hearsay is hearsay. It doesn't matter where it's
Let me add something to it. Anonymous sources always leak for political reasons. It's why they leak anonymously. It's because of the political risk.
It doesn't make it
Let's let El Normo have a full statement, okay? Instead of asking me. Let's let El Normo have a full statement. Let's let El Normo have a full statement. Thank you. As a working journalist, I can swear to you, I can assure you, I can tell you with absolute confidence that when anonymous sources leak information, they're doing it for their own political advantage and nothing else. If it weren't for that, then they would not be.
Do you write for Golden Age magazine?
So use your intelligence for 1 second, use your judgment, and figure out why was it anonymous? What was the point of them leaking this story? They leaked it in order to achieve a goal.
It was
that goal. Sure, it's anonymous. That's a leak, by definition. But that's why that's the definition of an anonymous source. It's a leak. So they do this in order to achieve their political goals. And you can bet that their political goal is to make the Netanyahu government look bad, because that's the characteristic of the times of Israel. So the credibility is approaching zero. They're giving you information that they want to affect the political agenda. End of story.
Okay, of course they do.
What you said, it's true.
I know.
It doesn't mean. Hold on. I'm not finished saying what I think it's true. So what you said is true about it. It doesn't mean that it's not true. I agree with you. The only thing it means is that I cannot take it as the final truth.
Unreliable.
There's no evidence.
No, but
And
you
so-
still have
hold
to
on.
admit, but hold
Yeah,
on,
you
Isa.
still have, what I would agree with you is that I still have a big question mark on this thing. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, especially because the IDF has not come out and denied this statement. So until that happens, I'm gonna think that there is a possibility that it is true, but I cannot take it. I would be at fault of taking it as the final truth without any evidence.
That I can somehow understand, even though I think that there's overwhelming evidence to the fact that it's correct. But I understand, and I would
let's hear the evidence.
respect your
Good point.
skepticism.
I am underwhelmed.
Hey, let's let Em
Enough!
have
Oh my God!
a response. Let's let
Men
Em
are
have a
work.
Okay, everybody, hold on. Norm, don't interrupt. Thank you, Em, because I think that is right now a little bit of a middle ground where you are understanding the other side of the argument. I get it that you're not gonna give 100% to it, but yeah, there's somewhere in the middle, and this is how some people's brains work.
Okay, now
I appreciate that you understand it.
Thank you, but I want to emphasize something. I understand and respect skepticism. I think it's brilliant that people don't take everything as face value. However, I think sometimes it's over too much. I do want to emphasize we have 3 different reporters roughly saying the same thing in different phrasing. All of them from respectable outlets. None of them have any record of any.
All of them with the same political agenda.
Normo, please let her say something.
Oh my God, you are brilliant, by the way.
All of them with the same
El
political
Normo,
agenda.
please. El Normo, please. El Normo, please. Stop for a second.
Okay, and so I think that 3 different reporters, journalists that work for respectable outlets, are very experienced, don't have to say that their record doesn't mean that they're 100% reliable, but that's still some, let's say, a little bit of more weight on the balance. And when you add to that the fact that other respectable outlets, international outlets, have also felt comfortable enough to quote them, and what you just mentioned, which is a brilliant point that I actually never thought of, IDF never actually came against it, never said anything to contradict it, never actually responded to it. When you add all that, okay, there's room for skepticism, but now I'm asking you, what will make you feel as if, okay, let's say we can never get the name of the source. Is there anything else that will make you say, okay, guys, like, we can't argue with this anymore?
If I may, I haven't said anything, and I would like to say something.
Just one sentence.
I'm white. I want to say something.
They quote
Okay.
not the name.
And I would say nothing will do that. It is an anonymous source. It's one of those things we'll never know. Okay? I mean, even if it's not quote unquote a leak, it is dubious just because it's an anonymous source. Maybe the reporters are reporting the same anonymous source. Maybe the reporters got it from each other. Okay? You don't know. We don't know. And it is doubtful simply because it's an anonymous source. Even if it's like, forget about the reporter's credibility. The reporter may be credibly reporting that someone anonymously told them this. That doesn't make it true. It's not something you can ever follow up on.
So,
No one will ever be held accountable. I have respected everyone here, and now the respect needs to be shown to me. Okay? And that's just rational. It's not about the credibility of the reporter or the outlet, although that can be questioned too. They may have their reasons, but this is something that, okay, it's reported, you take it as a data point, but you can only put so much weight on it. And I think it's very honest to say, well, I can't be sure hearing something like this. You can't be sure it's not true, but that doesn't mean you can be sure it is true. And that's life sometimes.
So I want to just say one thing. Ambrose, it's okay that they will stay with the anonymity. What I would like is the quote itself. That is it. Because at the end, they said different things with different words.
That's okay, Daniel. I'm not going to ask you because that's rude enough. No, that's rude. I'm not going to do that.
So it's okay. You don't need to ask. You don't need to ask. But I'm just saying that we don't need to only have the name, but we can also agree that we cannot say that the IDF officially said so. And the way that it's been used already on Twitter, that they use this quote, this statement from Arendt as an official admission of the IDF. And this is how it is being used as
Question,
a weapon.
Daniel, did you see how Yoav Zaytoun phrased it?
I
I think beliefs, they use the word belief.
No.
Or I don't know.
I think he was very blunt. Fuck, where is it? I just had it in front of me.
But you can say like, someone in the idea.
Wait. He said it, he did like a 8-point text. Point number 6, בצה"ל מעריכים כ-70,000 עזתים נהרגו במלחמה, ועובדים על פילוח בין מחבלים לבלתי מעורבים. That's the way he phrased it.
Semantics in this case are irrelevant, and also I would like to point out that it's called argument from popularity. Or
okay, I just want to say I have something to say, Jason. If I can speak.
One second.
This is a little bit tough here, but go ahead, Andre, and then we'll go back to you.
So it's also called appeal to the numbers. It's a fallacy. It's an actual fallacy. When people say just because so many people say something, it must be true. They cannot be wrong just because of the number of reports or number of the people that say that is false. There is, a classic example of, at some point in time, people believed that the Earth was flat. Mostly, it was majority of the people who believed it, but that did not change the reality. So appealing to numbers in this case is irrelevant.
Can I? Jason?
Yeah, please go ahead, Em, please.
Thank you. So you spoke about anonymous source, and I want to take it to a more, let's say, philosophical or conceptual level. Just drop the Israel thing because I'm really trying. This is like a trigger point for me that I've been trying to. You guys are doing me a service. So I don't know if you remember, but before October 7th, there was a hearing in Congress where I don't remember the name of the guy that's Jordan something maybe, and Matt Taibbi was testifying and Michael Schellenberger. Anybody happen to know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Okay, it was the Twitter
Yes, I did watch it. Yes.
You did watch it? Okay. Do you remember what happened? What I don't remember the name of that congressman, the Democratic one, what she tried to get out of Matt Taibbi. Do you remember how that went?
No. Tell me what you're referring to.
It was either Debbie. It was one of the Democratic Congress woman, and she was. Sorry.
Debbie Wasserman Schultz? Doesn't matter who.
Either her or another one. I don't remember one of them. And even though everybody knew that Matt Taibbi's source was Elon Musk, it was common knowledge, he never actually explicitly said it, right? And they were literally on the Congress floor trying to get him to say Elon Musk, and that thing went viral real quick because they were literally trying to make him break his journalistic. I don't know what's the word in English.
Confidentiality.
And give up his source. So when you're saying that because this source, because it's anonymous, this loses credibility.
Yes,
what do we do with cases? So I'm asking you, was she right when she was demanding that Matt Taibbi gave up his source? That
This question is for me. This question is for me.
Do you understand what I'm trying to figure out, Jason?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And all I would say is, in a situation like that, where everybody knows it's Elon Musk, well, that's credible then, isn't it?
What about Woodward and Bernstein, Deep Throat? There are so many situations that whistleblowers show.
Anonymous source.
This is not. You have to understand that in some cases there is corroborating evidence.
But there
Okay,
are.
in some cases, I know. Look, stop doing that, Zed. Stop
but
doing
the corroborating evidence are the numbers and the list of names.
Well, no, that's not
exactly
the corroborating evidence in this case. The corroborating evidence in this case would be some other indication that IDF accepts the number.
Okay, so can we talk about when is an anonymous source?
This is pretty abstract.
Hold on, because this is an interesting point. What Jason
Okay, can I ask another?
Hold on 1 second.
I'll give you a better example.
Hold on. He said there must be another indication that the IDF accept this number. we discussed this earlier, and we actually said, well, since that is the only number that is out there, because the Ministry of Health is the only source, it doesn't mean they are right or they're wrong, but it's the only source. The IDF is taking this number to do their math or their analysis or their claims of like there is a 1-to-2 ratio or 1-to-3 ratio. They're using the data provided by the Ministry of Health. So, and this is something that we will discuss. Maybe the journalist could also have taken this fact that IDF is using this number as a form of confirmation or acceptance of the fact of using this number. But that doesn't mean necessarily that somebody said, yes, we are okay with this number. Maybe the quote was, yes, we're using that number for our calculations. We don't know what it was. But
We would know better if we had the briefing or a name that we could follow up with.
And we could have the exact quote.
We would
so
then be more informed.
it. Because also usually what happens is that
Instead of half informed.
If we have access to the exact quote, we would be able to say, oh, well, maybe they meant this, maybe they meant. But right now, we are just relying on interpretation of the person that put it out there.
That's called hearsay.
But does it make sense, Jason, that the other form that could be interpreted as confirmation is because the IDF is using this amount as well?
Well, and all I'm saying is like it's not accept or don't accept. It's about waiting. That's all that I said.
It's about bad reporting.
Okay. I didn't say you reject the anonymous source, but I said, to the degree that
we're gonna doubt it.
That they're anonymous, you have to take it with a grain of salt.
Okay.
And as long as there is some corroborating information, then that's great. But you want corroborating information anyway,
Okay.
You can guarantee that anonymous source.
Buttercup really wants to go next.
All right. Well, so maybe.
Look, she's been trying.
I'm in the middle of a sentence. I want to hear from her. I'm in the middle of a sentence when I'm letting you go. An anonymous source is only leaking for one reason: to pursue their political agenda. So you can guarantee that what the anonymous source is leaking is not necessarily true. Rather, it expresses. No, I'm not. I'm giving you the reason why anonymous sources leak. They do it.
That is one of the reasons they do that. They also remain anonymous.
They could be whistleblowers.
It's the main reason. If they're
the concept of whistleblowing
is leaking anonymously, if they're leaking anonymously, then they're not. If they're leaking anonymously,
see how this got out of control because someone tried to direct, and then
if they're leaking anonymously, it's because they're not supposed to be saying what they're saying. There's a reason why it's anonymous.
Okay, you said it, great, but let's let Buttercup go, and we've heard this already, so. Go ahead, Buttercup.
Okay, are you guys talking about the IDF accepts the 71 figure because that's not anonymous?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not an anonymous. I'm not done talking. That's not an anonymous source. That is what we call on the record confirmation with
Times of Israel used it.
Hold on, Em.
Okay, so the Times of Israel, okay, that's weird that the Times of Israel used an anonymous source. Maybe the press person they dealt with gave them different instructions, but usually the reporter is obligated to adhere to whatever agreement they make with the spokesperson about how to attribute it, whether it's on the record or on the record with direct attribution, without direct attribution, just confirming, etc. I wouldn't consider that an anonymous source. But I did want to say that we do accept anonymous sources, which I weigh differently than I would a direct confirmation from an agency as professional as the IDF. Like, if we do accept anonymous sources, especially if there's corroborating anonymous sources, and we weigh to some extent activist journalism, there is evidence that the IDF has been independently verifying the health ministry's data all along. So they're not just accepting it as default, But throughout the war, 2 years ago, Yuval Abraham reported that the IDF has independently independently confirming the numbers and names that are coming out of Gaza. And I put a link in the chat if you guys want to read it. But as I said before, you would weigh that differently than you would weigh an official confirmation from an agency, which is what we're talking about here. It's a very different level of credibility.
All of which is irrelevant to the present case.
It's perfectly relevant. It's actually spot on.
But it supports the narrative.
All of which is completely irrelevant to the present case. Because we now actually. Yes.
Well, once the Secretary Ambrose specifically said
So
it
it's
was given
anonymous?
under condition of anonymity. Literally,
No, that was the
Norm, can you
title.
explain your
That
position?
was the title in Times of Israel. I said no such thing. Why does Buttercup keep dropping?
No, she's here.
Sorry.
She's here. I didn't kick her out. Maybe it's a software glitch.
It was my.
Norm, can you explain your position? I blame you.
Yeah, these numbers are leaked in order to undermine the present government. The Times of Israel is well known to oppose the present government, the Netanyahu government.
They're not leaked. How many times?
Take a look at Daniel's PTR, and you can see a more honest breakdown, which any evaluator of the Gaza will give you. For example, how many were dead due to natural causes? 11,000. How many were dead as a result of the misfire of Gaza rockets? How many are dead because of the misfiring of Hamas rockets? 1 in 5. How many, left? How many are mistaken?
I'm sorry, I would like a source for those numbers. I would like a source for the
Let him go.
When you have political anonymous sources leaking data and laundering data, as Andre put it so aptly. In other words, one repeats what the other says in order to create facts on the ground. There's only one thing that you know, and this is to achieve a political end. And we know what the political end is. The political end is to undermine Bibi Netanyahu and to oppose any of his war policies. So all we're looking here is a statement from the Times that they hate Bibi. That's what you're getting from this article.
I would like an official source for the numbers that you just quoted, and I'm very disappointed in all of you for not demanding the same thing. Where is your critical thinking?
Yeah. Actually, those numbers, and we said it before, I don't know if maybe you were not in the room, those numbers are coming from an article that is pinned on top of our heads at the top of the room. And
that's not an article. That's an
hold on. It's an opinion piece, yeah.
And what makes him
and in that article or that opinion piece, you're going to be able to find the reference to each of the numbers that he's putting out there.
Thank you. Now, please tell me what makes him reliable.
I just want to say something. It is a parenthesis here. Nobody mods anyone in this room. I give the mod button to the people I trust. If I don't know the person, I don't want to mod them. So please don't do that. Refrain from doing that. Thank you.
So, first of all, I don't understand what is your standard of reliability, because a random person on X, he may have a very good opinion piece, but that's not fact. That's literally an opinion piece. And if you count that a reliable source versus 3 actual journalists from actual publications who do this for a living and have in the past published IDF statements are now somehow not reliable, but this person is? I'm asking you again, what is the benchmark of a reliable source? And you are unable to give me the parameters of that. Everything that humanity has defined as journalism ethics, or ethical journalism, or investigative journalism, everything, freedom of press is here for a reason. All of you did, what you just did is cancel all that out. Because you think a random person on Twitter is more reliable than actual journalists and news outlets. This is mind-boggling.
It's a series of mathematical models similar to the mathematical model that the Lancet used to say, here's how we estimate the number of people that are underneath the rubble in Gaza without actually pulling apart the rubble, which of course can't be done. So at some point you have to build mathematical models to say, here's a placeholder until we can actually dig through the data, no pun intended, clearly, and actually get to the information. So this is a mathematical models.
Okay,
Mathematical
but yeah,
models have...
explain to me, you said it just like what the Lancet did,
You're
right?
interrupting
What is-
Jakob.
Well,
You are interrupting Jakob. And he doesn't talk much.
I'm pretty much done, but mathematical models have a place to say, this is a good place to start with until we have something that we have more definition around. You can have a vacuum, or or based on expertise in a given area. Look, I'm reading the article now, and I have to look up his bona fides to see what his area of expertise is, because it looks like he, judging from the words he's using and the model that he's using, he's not just some random person on X. That he looks like he has some background in mathematical modeling of combat-related deaths. So yeah, he may be someone who's well more informed than the average person who clicks submit on X. So,
Okay,
I think we should reserve it until we know more.
Okay.
I think we can actually judge the article on its merits.
Hold on. I think, Jakob, if we're with your doctrine, then you mentioned the Lancet. He might be a brilliant guy who does very interesting mathematical models. However, he did not publish his findings in a peer-reviewed, respectable magazine.
I agree.
What was published, was published in the very similar mathematical models in the Lancet. Respectable medical magazine stated that the expected death toll will be 186,000. So my question is to you, if we want to talk about expertise, who are we going to believe? The expert who published his findings in a peer-reviewed respectable magazine, or the expert who published a Twitter post?
It depends on how they back.
Oh my God.
No, hold on. Hold on.
Jakob, respect Isa.
I don't know. Stop saying that. I just want to make reference to the article or opinion piece that Daniel pinned to the room. It's not that we're taking that as a respectable source. Simply, it is a guy that is putting out there his opinion. He is doing his own math, and he's backing his claims to sources that are official, like the UN, like the Ministry of Health, like even the claim of the 70,000. So it's not that we are taking this as an irrefutable source. No, it's a guy that had an opinion and he's backing his sources. You can find all the links inside of the opinion.
I accept that, Isa, but what I'm saying is that people that use the same methodology as he does did have their findings published, and he did not. And if we do not attribute being published in a peer-reviewed professional magazine, probably the most respectable one on the field on earth, and we don't attribute that more credibility than we do to an expert that did not get peer-reviewed published, he just posted it on X. Then how do we measure?
Let me respond to that. The people who review Lancet articles, generally are doctors talking about hematological and other bodily function articles. They are not people who deal with combat-related deaths. They were so far out of their field. I mean, the one thing that has bothered me for so long. The one thing that has bothered me for so long is Lancet was so far out of their normal area of expertise when they decided to say, let's model all of the people under the rubble. That's not what they do in general for a living.
I think there's a good objective measure as to whether or not we can see there's good reporting taking place with a meta-analysis utilizing large language models of different articles that were published about the very same topic. Now, I looked this up. I asked ChatGPT to do it. I have an article from Reuters and ChatGPT's analysis as to how it engaged in good or better reporting, as I would see it. What they did, they report that Israeli media cited senior officials, provides the quote, then asks the IDF and publishes the IDF's response, which is, and I quote, does not reflect official IDF data, and that official reports would come through formal channels. Here are some green flags. Right of reply / verification step. Reuters sought comment from the IDF and included a clarifying denial / distancing. Clear epistemic status. Distinguishes reported in a briefing versus official IDF data. Also, I would comment, it cites that it is the media of Israel that is reporting that senior officials have confirmed a number that the IDF says, and I quote, does not reflect official IDF data. This is better reporting, correct?
100%.
Correct.
Yeah, so she left.
Game matching point. She always leaves when it's obvious that she's wrong.
No, she didn't leave. She's in the audience. She just sometimes moves herself to the audience when she doesn't plan to interact, but she's listening.
Okay. I see her. Yeah, I would say, like, the question she asks is, like, very concerning. Because I think it's false choice, right? I mean, the Lancet estimated 180,000 deaths, which no one else's numbers support, right?
I thought their number was much higher than that.
But she quoted 180,000. It was a letter. It's a yes or no. It's a yes or no question. No one else's. It was a letter to the Lancet. It wasn't an actual article. No one else's numbers support it, right?
Correct.
Right. So the thing is, peer-reviewed articles, even assuming all the rest of it is true, peer-reviewed articles are published which are false, okay, which are later retracted.
It was a letter, not a peer-reviewed article.
But that doesn't change the fact, okay? You're getting sidetracked.
It wasn't peer-reviewed.
You're getting sidetracked here, okay?
No one else's numbers.
No, this is sidetracked, okay? No one else's numbers line up with what they predicted, okay? And that is one reason not to weigh their numbers heavily. But the other thing here is there's not a contradiction between the broad Hamas figures and this Twitter guy's analysis. Okay, what this Twitter guy is saying is, look, Hamas is giving you this figure, okay, Gaza Health Ministry is giving you this figure, and the breakdown of civilian and military deaths is extremely unclear. And if we apply some basic concepts here, it's really hard to see how it could be, such a large majority of civilian deaths as Hamas has claimed. Okay? And that's a solid analysis. And this point about, like, well, is it peer-reviewed or not, does not make any sense. In part because some good things are peer-reviewed. Okay, some things that are peer-reviewed are not good. Peer review takes months or years. And if we want to talk about this now, we have to work with the sources we can get now and the analyses we can get now. And that, I think, is like why this particular argument is not an argument. All right, doesn't clarify anything, doesn't substantiate it.
And that gives people.
Buttercup, do you feel more informed by the? Just a second.
Could you guys?
Buttercup.
Yeah, figure it out.
Yeah.
You finished chasing. You were done.
Go ahead.
Buttercup, do you feel more informed with the conclusions and presentation of the Reuters article than you do from the Times of Israel article?
What it does, to their credit, is it shows more of the seams in the reporting. So this is something that we talk about in journalism school now with what's his name, Jimmy, the guy who pointed out that there's a debate about sort of a crisis of faith in the media these days. So So what they're telling us to do more of is what Reuters did, is show all of the seams behind your reporting, what exactly the pitfalls are, and what I infer, this is my own perspective as someone who has decades in the field, is that this is something that the IDF is not eager to disclose publicly, their databases. This is not something they're officially want to put out there and make headlines. But because they're professionals, when they're directly asked about it, they confirm that things are true, right? And so while it's not their official, they're not choosing to publicize this data or make it an official public database, they are not going to like overtly lie about it because that's their professional standard.
Okay, I'm not questioning the presentation of the IDF for the information they chose to disclose and the means in which they chose to disclose it. I'm questioning the reporting published by the Times of Israel and whether or not you feel adequately informed after that article in the same way you do after reading the Reuters article.
Can you point out, I didn't read both articles. Can you tell me the specific language that you say makes it more credible?
Yes. Reuters reporting was citing that Israeli media was reporting on this news rather than claiming that the IDF was or that there was a high government source. They said that Israeli media was reporting on a kind of a confirmation from a government source, and then Reuters called up the IDF and asked whether or not they confirmed this number, and they said that is not the IDF's position. They had a quote from a representative from the IDF, and then they reported the news. Do you feel informed after Reuters reporting?
Can you read the backtracking?
Yeah, sure. I'll read you the quote. The quote I have says, reports that Israeli media cited senior officials, provides the quote, then asks the IDF and publishes the IDF's response, quote, does not reflect official IDF data.
They're not disputing it though.
Let me finish. And that official reports would come through formal channels.
Okay. So
now, do you feel as informed after knowing that as you did after reading the Times of Israel post?
Well, now I'm hearing conflicting. Sometimes agencies do put out conflicting statements. They walk back things they say because they're doing damage control. That is something that government agencies do sometimes.
Correct.
Yes.
These are the green flags. They had the right of reply and a verification step.
Right.
Reuters sought comment from the IDF and included a clarifying denial/distancing. They included
I wouldn't say denial.
That comment from the IDF. Clear epistemic status distinguishes reported in a briefing versus official IDF data, and which is the exact distinction. That is the exact distinction I was asking for, right? Reported in a briefing versus official IDF data.
To be honest,
did you feel that sensitivity after reading the Times of Israel article?
So now that I've heard the subsequent slightly distancing comment from the IDF, I think the IDF has made a choice in how to navigate this information.
And how to respond to Reuters.
Yes, they have now that has reached international media. They are starting to grapple with their media strategy, and they're saying, how do we navigate this without explicitly saying, yes, this is our data, without putting this out as official? And so this is how they're doing it.
I believe that you can.
Let me answer the question.
Sorry. Finish your theory. Go on.
I think what they're doing. What I hear now.
Let her finish.
What I hear is a walking back of previous statements that made to Hebrew language press, but without changing the content of their statements. And so they're just walking. This is called spin, okay? They're not saying anything substantively. I'm not done. I'm not saying they're not saying anything. They're not saying anything substantively different, but they are muddying the waters a little bit. And that's what press offices are designed to do because they do damage control.
I agree with you. Well, 1 second. I agree with you completely. I think that the IDF can be considered. We can think about what they're doing and why based upon how they respond to reports from the media. But my question to you is not about the IDF. My question to you is about the reporting from the Times of Israel. If you felt adequately informed, or only after you read the Reuters article, did you understand what was going on?
I still don't understand what's going on. The IDF has been very...
Do you feel informed after the Reuters article? Any more so than the Times of Israel article?
I think it's just they gave the
identical.
I don't think it's identical. I don't know more
No new
important.
facts worthy for the public discourse.
Yeah,
it's like
stop
you're
yelling.
putting her on
All right,
the
I'll say
stand,
it again.
okay?
You already said it. I'm just saying the
IDF's
answer is no.
response,
You asked
quote,
me that you
does
asked me a
not
question.
reflect
Why are you
official
bellowing
IDF
at me? Do
data.
you want me to answer or not?
I want you to say that's not good reporting.
I don't think it adds anything substantive to
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, it disputes the previous story.
No, it doesn't. It literally doesn't. You guys don't have, you don't have reading comprehension.
Sure it does. Well, one says the IDF says it, and then the IDF says it doesn't say this. So it's a lie.
As someone who's dealt with many press officers in my life, I know that
Anonymous
this is
sources
not a
are not
substantive statement.
credible. Anonymous sources are not credible. The official statement is, this is not our
Someone
data.
muted me. This is not a substantive statement.
Yes, it's substantive.
It's not a substantive walkback. It's not. It's not a substantive walkback.
One is an anonymous source, and anonymous source is not trustworthy.
They're both anonymous. They're both anonymous, by the way. Wait, there's no name in Reuters.
The official source says this is not.
They're both anonymous. There's no name in Reuters either.
Does not reflect
What's the name in Reuters?
official IDF data.
It said, is there a name?
Question. Excellent question.
Answer.
Now we want a name. Who said this does not reflect official IDF data? And let's also get a name. Who said it
What's
does?
the answer?
Okay, what's the answer?
Mr.
I have no idea.
Because there is
You're
a
you starting to think like a reporter.
This is great.
What does it say in
no.
the article?
We gotta be consistent, though.
Because then, you remember when we were having this conversation before Reuters put out anything? Buttercup and I asked you, okay, you're choosing in this time, maybe because it's convenient for you to trust the statement of the IDF. Now, I also asked you, like, what would you do? What will you also accept it when either they reject or when they actually confirm the numbers and the breakdown that they have done after the analysis? And that was part of the discussion we had. So now Mike Sett's article is saying that the IDF is distancing themselves from that statement. But you're choosing, I mean, nobody knows who said it, but neither nobody knows who said that they were actually confirmed.
But then let's lay it to rest then. Can we all? No. We all agree that
Not
the
to
both are.
believe, hold
No,
on.
I'm not saying that.
Just finish, honey. So this is also a reputable source. It's Reuters. So now you are either, it's your opportunity to prove that you actually have very, very strong standards. Are you going to accept this reputable source that says that they're distancing?
Yes, I'm consistent. You guys should accept both, just like I
It
accept
doesn't
both.
say they're distancing. It says that's not the data. It's not distancing.
Or is
It's
that
computing.
whatever the claim was that Mike said about Reuters?
It's not distancing.
Okay, let me, Issa, let me answer you. Yes, I consider both of those official positions from the IDF press office. I know how this works. Both of them are valid, and both of them are authorized to speak on behalf of the agency. So can we put to rest whether or not the spokesperson did or didn't say, since everyone agrees that the walkback is authoritative, even if the original
It's not a
statement.
walkback. It's a falsification of the previous report.
Okay, however you want to frame it. I understood it as not a substantive
I mean,
walkback.
it's accurately just using the correct verb.
Okay, so
A walkback is somebody says one thing and then they change their mind. A dispute is when an anonymous source says something and then the official source says bullshit. That's what he just saw. He saw the official source say that's bullshit. It's not right. It's wrong. That's not our numbers.
Yeah, look, I would just say, like, it's open to interpretation. So the matter under dispute, we can't call it one thing or the other, okay? We gotta call it the statement in Reuters. And, like, Buttercup is taking it, hey, I'm talking, okay?
I hear you.
Buttercup is saying that, well, I'm white, okay, so let's hear some white voices. And Buttercup is saying the statement is like, is a walkback. And others are saying the statement is a denial, all right? And this is the matter under dispute, okay? And I could see it go either way, okay, on that statement. I'm not as confident as Buttercup. It's a walkback, right? And okay, maybe that article
it's not
is
an
better.
explicit. We can all agree it's not an explicit denial, right? We can all exist.
I
Maybe
can't necessarily agree.
It's a denial.
They did not say.
Not our number.
I cannot necessarily.
No,
I
they
cannot
said-
necessarily agree. Okay. And we don't have to agree. That's the thing.
Dude, it's black or white. Because I
We don't have to agree. We
don't.
don't have to agree.
That's
Okay, we
totally
don't have
fine.
to settle it. Okay. I do think though it's interesting that McZed presented this article, and Buttercup was like, "Yeah, the seams in the reporting are more clear in the Reuters article," and I think that's interesting. Okay, that's informative. You know, but we're not going to settle this matter, right? And
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's open to interpretation. The only thing we can agree on.
Okay, it sounds like you guys want to hear the
What
word.
the
let's hear what
coming,
Isa
right?
has to say.
Just put it in the link. Just put it in the chat. Makes
No,
sense.
it's the only comment I had to say that, I mean, we will never agree, as Jason says, because it's all open for interpretation. But the only thing we can agree with is what is the source and who said it. Now, how much trust we place on that source or on that, yeah, whatever, whoever is making the claim, it's very subjective. It depends on our own standards.
Okay,
Reuters is like the gold standard. You can trust
I will
Reuters.
show you the gold standard reporting as of January 30th, 2026, 6:01 a.m.
Reuters is not a gold standard. They're a wire
chat.
Here's what they say. Jerusalem, January 30th, Reuters.
Oh my God, he's really
Israel's military has accepted that around 70,000 Palestinians were killed during the war in Gaza, after having earlier cast doubt on death tolls reported by the enclave's health officials. Israeli media reported on Friday, citing senior military officials. Article begins. The United Nations has long accepted death tolls recorded by health authorities in Gaza as accurate. Israel has cast doubt on the figures, arguing that the health ministry in the enclave was run by Hamas and could not be trusted. The Gaza Health Ministry publishes names and ages of those it records as killed. It now says the toll stands at over 71,000, including more than 480 killed in Israeli attacks since the start of a U.S. brokered ceasefire in October. It says many thousands more are still buried beneath the rubble of Gaza's destroyed cities. It does not distinguish between civilians and fighters, but has identified most of the dead as women or children. Citing a briefing on Thursday with senior military officials, Israel's Ynet News website and other leading outlets reported that the military had adopted a similar estimate. Quote, in our estimation, around 70,000 Gazans were killed during the war, not including missing persons. Ynet cited an official as saying, quote, we are currently doing the work of distinguishing between terrorists and those who were not involved, the official was quoted as saying. Asked for comment, Israel's military said that, quote, the details published do not reflect official Israel Defense Forces data. It added, any publication or report on this matter will be released through official and orderly channels. End quote. The October 7, 2023 Hamas attack that triggered the war killed around 1,200 people in Israel, most of them civilians, according to Israeli tallies. More than 470 Israeli soldiers have died during the war.
So
end of reporting.
Thank you.
Our standards, the Thomson Reuters trust principles.
That's right, you don't need to read
Article
this.
was amazing. Thank you
Great.
for reading it.
Thank you, McZed. What I hear in that is a press office doing damage control with word salad. That's what I see all the time in my.
So you're making
I
up a
hear
story about
you
what you just heard.
spinning.
No, I hear them spinning. This is what
No,
this is
you're
what press
spinning.
offices are designed to do. They do damage control when someone.
No, you're avoiding
It's a
your with
statement
the
and they need
article itself.
To me, I hear damage control when
This
they.
level of honesty
There's no
is
replacement for it.
absolutely.
Yeah, you're in denial. You're
Okay, maybe
incapable of
she's in
seeing the
denial,
hand in front of your eyes.
No. But we're talking. We just spent about an hour talking about the credibility of the resource, right? And somehow she was trying to sell us that anonymous resource is a credible resource. Yet, when there is an official statement with the word "not" in it, she is all
There's
of a
no
sudden
name. There's no. It's so anonymous.
Wishy-washy. No, it's an official source.
What's the name?
So
name it. What's the name? What's the name?
We
What's the name? What's the name?
can find.
No name.
Stop.
So now all of a sudden she's running for the woods.
Who moved her?
Because she cannot accept that the credibility, epistemic value, as Luke put very eloquently, is much higher of the anonymous source, and she cannot deal with it because it contradicts her
Okay, but hold on.
ideological.
It doesn't mean your own litmus. It's your litmus test, not mine.
It's happening in real time, and I actually, you say 1 hour, Andre, but we've been in this room with this conversation since yesterday, and just today has been 6 hours already. So you came late to the room, but I like it that all of these happen in real time, because then we can see people's reaction in real time, in the same way that when Emrose and Buttercup released the news yesterday to all of us that are here in the room, and the immediate thing that we did is like, okay, where is this coming from? But where is the name? And who said that? And where is the official statement? And we all started looking for it. Now it has evolved, and now it's her turn to...
I don't give a fuck. It's not my litmus test. It's yours. It's your litmus test.
I know, but...
not if you're a reporter, Buttercup. It's your litmus test, too.
You're taking this... The walk back is facts, but the original statement is bull...
No, but it's not about... Listen, I am not attributing ill intentions to you. I am trying to stay partial, and I'm trying to stay objective. I just observe how is it that all of us are processing the information. And to me, it has been interesting, because we have done...
I don't doubt the source at all. I've never doubted the source. You doubt the source. I don't. I considered authoritative in both cases. You considered authoritative only in the second case. You only consider the second statement authoritative.
Your bad reporting is a story on Reuters.
You're a bad journalist.
I will say...
Anonymous sources are not authoritative.
I will say also towards our side, yesterday, we were not happy just accepting the statement that somebody said that the IDF said. Today, with this article of Reuters, we seem to be like, I don't know if relieved or more comfortable or whatever, that there is another aspect to it. And now we seem to be okay, even if it's still anonymous. But it kind of is giving us a balance, a psychological balance. So we need to be fair on both sides, in the same way that we're expecting her to keep her standards in what he's choosing to believe or not. We're sort of doing the same, although I think, well, with a little bit of critical thinking, but still. Because does it name any name of Maxan in the Reuters?
It does not give a name. It confirms in the exact same way, except a bit more official than the others. Here's their identification. Asked for comment, Israel's military said.
Okay, so in the same way that yesterday's article wasn't naming anyone,
absolutely,
today's article, no, they are still not naming anyone.
Which is why the story is simply that Israel's media is reporting.
Correct, but at least there's one difference.
You're on trial.
I think the improvement in today's article are two things. One, the quote, which is there is a direct quote, which we didn't have yesterday. And second, that the reporting was a little bit more balanced.
Isa, it's much simpler. Here's the difference. We have two sources say contradictory thing, except for one identifies itself as an official and has a backing of the whole ministry behind it. And another one is staying anonymous and does not have the backing of the ministry behind it.
You're wrong.
Yes,
Yesterday's article also identified
I'm not
as
talking
official.
about listen, I'm talking about the comparison between anonymous source and an official statement. So what Buttercup is doing, she's doing false equivalency. Just because we don't know the exact name of the person doesn't mean one source is exactly like the other. I just wanted to point.
Okay, so
That's
here's...
fine, but in the article of yesterday, just let me say this. In the article of yesterday, Andre, it also made reference as IDF officials.
That's irrelevant because one of them has backing of the ministry, another one doesn't.
I want to explain the narrowing of facts in the Reuters article in reporting one of the facts in this fact pattern. One is this. Citing a briefing on Thursday with senior military officials, Israel's Ynet News website and other leading outlets reported that the military had adopted a similar estimate, period. That is their statement of what is going on. And a lot of it involves website, leading outlets reporting had adopted senior military officials a briefing on Thursday. It contains the facts in the correct order to frame how narrow this issue is amongst media reporting in Israel.
So there is confirmation that there was a briefing on Thursday then.
Yes, Reuters is saying they confirmed the briefing, they confirmed the reporting, they cite as much of the quote of the briefing that they can claim is authoritative based on the reporting in Israel, and they comment to the IDF through their own channels to confirm or deny, and they quote a response from them. That being, asked for comment, Israel's military said that, quote, the details published do not reflect official IDF data. It added, quote, any publication or report on this matter will be released through official and orderly channels. A far more legal response.
I mean,
That's journalism.
that is typical of follow-up reporting. Like if you're following another publication's lead, you're going to add a little more context and be a little bit more comprehensive in the way you frame it, right? And
yes, what I want to highlight in again the ChatGPT meta-analysis of good reporting. The green flags they saw was the right of reply / verification step. Reuters sought comment from the IDF and included a clarifying denial / distancing, and there was a clear epistemic status. It distinguishes reported in a briefing versus official IDF data.
Did they call it a denial and did the use the word
article?
Calm down, take a breath, Mixed.
All right, I love good reporting. You should get excited by it. This is your professional mind.
Do you have the link of the Reuters one? That you can pin it to?
Sure.
This is not a protest. There's no attempt to.
It said, here's the title I have from the Israel military reported to accept death toll of around 70,000 in Gaza.
Just put in the chat.
Okay.
What's much more important is the deliberate deception about not reporting how many are civilians and how many are military.
No, the military said they don't have that number. Jesus.
Hamas has been consistent in their deception on that matter, and the estimate is 20 to 35,000, and the ratio has been consistently 1-to-1, the lowest in the history. You're feeding back, he said. The lowest in the history of military. It's all right. The lowest in the history of military warfare. They consistently leave that out, which is another form of deception by omission. They're consistently deceptive. And why? Because they hate the current government, so they want to make it look as bad as possible. So why they use the
sorry, I was wrong. The article, I posted the link. You can all read good reporting at Reuters. And maybe we should just tell journalists to just do whatever the hell Reuters is doing. They have
Reuters
standards.
has its faults.
Reuters is okay.
Sometimes they are kind of biased sometimes.
Reuters is okay.
So
They're at least doing better than the Times of Israel, right?
Yeah.
I think Israel is really not a credible source.
Guys, Reuters and AP, their wire services, they tend to be a lot drier and they tend to be much more to the point, They're not.
It's not about dryness or
That's good.
Yes, it is good.
It's professionalism.
Dry means less editorialization.
And that's why they do have credibility.
No, that's not why they have credibility. They have credibility because they behave in a professional manner. They report honestly, and as you saw, they use official sources. Or at least they didn't hide behind anonymous sources. And once again, the deception is pretending. The deception is pretending that these are civilian casualties. It's a deliberate deception.
Yeah, but that is another topic. Right now, the IDF has said as well that they are currently working on the breakdown of deaths. Right now, the focus of our conversation